face getting clearer. The past is gone. It went by like dust to dawn. Isn't that the way? Everybody's got their dues and life to pay. Half my life's in books, written pages. Lived and learned from fools and from sages. You know it's true. All things come back to you. Sing with me, sing for the years, sing for the laughter, sing for the tears. Sing with me, it's just for the day. Maybe tomorrow, good love will take you away. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins.
This is Fins TV, a Miami Dolphins inspired podcast, fueled by the power of positivity. Here are your hosts, Finn Sammy and Steve Hallett.
Welcome to Fins TV. I hope Finn Sammy, aka Finn Sammy Onesa, is always my co-host Steve Hallett. Steve, long time no see. Welcome back to Fins TV.
Sammy, it's a great thing to be back. I know I say this all the time, but it is now truly the most wonderful time of the year. The day that everybody reports to training camp, beginning of the real season is coming on here. So it's not just hyperbole, it is time to get into it. You start to get that, the feeling going for you. I have it right now. I know everybody else I hope everybody else in the Dolphins Nation feels it right now, because it may not get much better than this. You know, the anticipation, the hope, the anticipation, you just don't know what you're going to get out of it, but I'm excited.
It depends on everything on who you talk to. There's some fans that are giddy, that feel like we're going to win 13 games this year. And there's some fans that I've seen that 5 and so whatever. Well, it's that kind of season. Still, we don't know what's going to happen. It's a very weird season, but we're not going to talk about that. So on this episode, well, today McDaniel 2025 Dolphins camp open, so we're going to talk about the start of the Miami Dolphins training camp. Also on the show, is it Tua or bust for the Dolphins? A lot of fans on Fins Nation seems to be losing faith in Tua. Are the Dolphins losing faith in Tua too? We're going to talk about that and so many other things about Tua. And also we're going to play some Fins TV toss-up. Who should be the number 2 Dolphins running back? So that should be interesting. We have a full house today. We have our Fins TV family, so to speak, the guest panelists, our friend Jason Sarney and Adrian Rainey of the Rainy Day podcast, and the Fins TV crew of Shari Hallett and the returning Marian Storm. So we're gonna start with the Dolphins opening Mike McDaniel camp on 2025.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. It's a new life for me, yeah. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. It's a new life for me. Ooh, and I'm feeling.
Let's go to work today. Let's go. Everybody moving.
Now come attack! Now come attack!
Big block, do no more. Let's go. That's it. That's it. That's it. Put pressure on the defense. Hit that hard. That's it. Keep running. Oh man, I love it.
Well, Steve got McDaniel open it today, so it's kind of weird because every single year it's like we're so giddy. You have high expectations. The last 3 years have been huge for the Dolphins on expectations, but this year is kind of different. A reduced roster, so many questions. Tua, we'll talk about him later. But Mike McDaniel, for people who's new to Fins TV, we talk so many times. For those who know, I've never been a huge believer in Mike McDaniel, but it is what it is. That I like the guy. I think he's going to be great at ESPN when he's not the Dolphins the coach of the Dolphins anymore. But some of his coaching decisions remains to be seen. But for those who are new to the show, I had to do basically the same question we talked so many times. Do you think Mike McDaniel is going to be capable of changing the philosophy? He's been such a friendly coach, a friends coach, a buddy coach, and basically some of the players are taking advantage of that. If you ask me, they even betray his trust. But I want to know your thoughts. For people who are new to Fins TV, what are your thoughts? Can you think Mike McDaniel can change his coaching style?
Well, we have talked about this ad nauseum, and frankly, if you go around the content creators, the YouTube, the media, the articles, everything, everybody's talking about this. So I'm really going to try to bring maybe a little bit of a different perspective today with a lot of these different topics, because I feel like, what's going to make us different other than the fact that Finn Sammy has the best production of any of the podcasts out there. Oh, just seriously.
I'm just a pirate.
Admit it. Whatever. Bullshit. Okay. So, really the question that I have is whether or not he can balance his humor in what we saw a couple years ago on Hard Knocks. He's got veteran players. How are you going to balance that out? Because all the narratives in the offseason was it's really not working. This personable coach. People talk about the Don Shula's, the Belichick's, even like the Mike Vrabel, the Dan Campbell's, the hard-nosed coaches that aren't that personable. You're not going to have them over for a barbecue or anything like that because they're not your friend. And you got to wonder, is this personable coach narrative, is it outdated? I think it was cool for about 2 seasons. And what really, we're entering season 4 now of Mike McDaniel era. I think the reason why, yes, the most wonderful time of the year, but why it feels different this year is all the fans are waiting to see, can this change? I know that you talked about it. You're going to bring up some stuff on from WQAM with Channing Crowder, but he absolutely just stopped me, and I had to send you a message earlier today when he
nailed it.
They said, do you what about personable and all this different stuff. And you could tell what he was thinking because he just started shaking his head, and I knew he was going to bring it. And he said it perfectly when he said, demand greatness from your players and win games. That is all a head coach has to do. And I wonder, has he done that? So, I mean, I could go on and on and on about this, but really he's got to find some way to change that. But also, I'm going to save it for a little bit later. But I just don't know if he is capable of changing that type of narrative, but it's put up or shut up time right now. I think he's the consensus head coach right now is having the hottest seat in the league. And it's not just because of his performance of being a coach on the field. It's also because of the relationships of everybody that's leaving the Dolphins. It's having an impact on the team. It's having an impact on us, but it's not having an impact on the team's bottom line. But I really would like to believe that Stephen Ross would like to win, a playoff game, just like all of us would. So
absolutely. And the division has changed so much in the offseason with Aaron Glenn, the Bills over stuff, Mike Vrabel now with the Patriots. Those are hard-nosed coaches. So, being the good guy, the buddy coach for the Dolphins, that label, a soft label that the Dolphins have been trying to wipe out the last recent years, it might be hard for Mike McDaniel because those coaches show a great contrast compared to Mike McDaniel, Steve.
No, and you're right, but here's the way to think about this a little bit differently. Yes, Mike McDaniel is the captain. He is the leader of everything that is going on in that locker room. Bottom line, it comes up to him. We've talked a lot. There's been a lot of talk in the offseason of the veterans that have left this team. The Jalen Ramseys, the Teron Armsteads, the ones that have left this team. Here's a question for you. Maybe we can partly, segue this into our guest coming in, but
yes,
they were the veteran leaders in this team. They let that happen.
Yeah, like
yes, it's Mike McDaniel's, but what was going on from Teron Armstead to say, look, guys, it's my 12th season in the league. I'm not letting this happen on my watch.
Absolutely. So there's a turnover with those kind of Calais Campbell and Armstead out of here, but it's not like if you ask me, they did a superb job of putting their feet down when Tyreek Hill said he wanted to quit. So
yeah,
that boy is there. No denying that the boy is there, but it is what it is. Well, let's welcome our guest, the Fins TV crew of.
Come on in.
The Fins TV crew of, Shari Hallett, Jason Sarney, Adrian Rainey, and some kind of confused.
Matt Armstrong.
Having an earthquake, Matt Armstrong.
There he is.
Hey, man.
Hey.
Got to one-up us on the entrance over here.
That's right.
That's
the big reveal.
Absolutely. Steve, please continue what you were saying. I want the crew to come.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm curious because everybody wants to talk. I seriously want to retire the talk about culture change. I'm over it because everybody wants to talk about culture. It doesn't matter. But if we had some pretty seasoned and strong veterans in this team in Calais Campbell, Teron Armstead, and Jalen Ramsey on this roster last year, but these culture or disciplinary issues and laxness within the culture existed with them as captains, with them as a veteran leadership, how much of it may have fallen on their shoulders, and it has to be kind of parlayed with, we've lost that, we bring in some new veteran leadership. Jordan Brooks' second season, I'm really looking forward to him stepping up, but is it only on McDaniel to change the culture, or is it also, can it be a team effort? Adrian, what do you think, man?
It's not only on him. It definitely starts with him, though. So if it as the leader, if you letting people get away with being late or being lazy or anything like that, that just rubs off on your players. And if the veterans see, oh, hey man, the leader of the team ain't gonna say anything about this, so why should I? That's where it could rub off, and then you dealing with a whole team of people that just don't really see him as a leader that he's supposed to be. I think Mike McDaniel, he could try to change who he is and try to be more disciplined and all this, but that's not who he is. If he's not going to be exactly himself, the person he's been for the last 3 years, then people are going to see that he's being fake, and then you'll get more problems, different problems that are going to happen because people might not buy in. So, I mean, definitely not just on him. So, but it starts with him for sure.
I think it definitely starts with him, and I thought it was really interesting during the Hard Knock season, seeing him on screen dropping all those F-bombs, acting like that. It almost felt like that was inauthentic. It almost felt like that was forced. But, and it's stupid. People are like, oh, don't talk about the stupid ping pong table or the basketball hoop or anything like that. But it's one of those things like that is like the culture of what they have. We have the coach in the shorts and the hoodie on the sidelines and 120-degree heat index outside, which I would be dead. I'm already dying from what we have right here without a hoodie on. Shari can tell you that's true. But,
It's true.
See? But, I guess, Shari, you can take it from a perspective of how much of it may have been on the veterans that left. And also, does McDaniel have a harder climb against him now that those veterans have left?
I was actually looking at this a totally different way, not even referring to veterans. When we had that year where we were putting up 70 on Denver and nobody could figure out our scheme, nobody gave two shits that McDaniel was the fun coach and the silly coach, and that when he gave press conferences, he gave the cryptic answers or the funny answers or the not politically correct answers. We were all fine with it. I didn't have a problem with it. Did anybody on this panel have a problem with it when we were beating the crap out of people? They didn't. And somehow that team played to the best of their ability. Yes, I know it was a scheme that was figured out. That's for a different conversation. And his inability to change, that's where the problem to me lies, is that attitude worked that season. It didn't get us through the playoffs, but it still worked. That team was a gelled team who played together and had a good time. So I want to see more than his attitude change. I want to see him giving the reins to somebody who can make better play calls, someone who is going to rely on somebody in the booth when he challenges and not just go on a knee jerk. I want to see more procedural changes than I do attitude changes, because I've seen a team play for him with that fun attitude. What I've seen, though, is a drop off in the ability to make changes in every other aspect, and that is where we're failing. And so I want to see him give the reins off of offensive play calling over a bit. I want to see him rely on supporting staff, not just veterans. Stop trying to be in control of every minute of every game and understand clearly you can't be. So you want to yuck it up, but make changes in other places that are going to provide results, because if we're winning, no one's going to give a crap if he's being silly, if he's in shorts at practice, running around like a goofball. No one will care. So that's where I want to see changes. I want to see procedural changes.
So you're talking about a culture change by way of not him directly saying, I'm doing this to change who I am, but I'm going to change how things are run around here. That's an interesting perspective.
That's how I feel, because it's like asking a southpaw pitcher to pitch with his right hand and expecting him to have results when that's not what he's done his whole life. If this is his personality and this is who he is and this is how he coaches, Adrian said it perfectly. It's going to be 10 times worse if we're trying to get a Mike McDaniel who's trying to be the Mike McDaniel that the press wants him to be, that the podcasters want him to be, that the fans in Miami want him to be, but that's not who he is. I think that's a lot harder to change who you are inherently than it is to say, I need to change how I'm doing other things. I need to change how I'm calling plays, who I'm allowing to step in and help with that. Who is my supporting staff that I'm going to lean on rather than try to be the God of all gods and make all those choices and change. Release the reins, be a goofball. I don't care. Win games.
So interesting perspective. And Jason, I want to bring it over to you, because that's something I've never even looked at from that angle. Do you think it'd be possible for the culture, there we go again, to change in a positive way, and for Mike McDaniel to possibly gain more respect from his players by giving up some of those pieces of his game, stepping back a little bit and allowing that to happen? I don't think it's possible, but do you think that is something that would have a positive net impact in what this team needs?
You know what? I think a little bit of a mixture of, Mike McDaniel keeping to what he is, because you know what? There's nothing wrong with that, but there has to be a delegation of power, of jobs, like Shari mentioned. And I got to tell you, the whole culture and identity shift change, I know it's getting a little old, and we're already in just day one of everyone reporting to training camp, but Alec Ingold really said it best today. And look, for my money, he's probably the brightest and best vocal leader on this team overall, just from a nitty-gritty standpoint of doing the dirty work, and he's just a great team guy. He said, and I'll quote, "Culture really comes down to a shared character of when things are going wrong. What we can do right now during camp is manufacture that as best we can by competing, by bringing great energy, and truly pushing ourselves through that discomfort early on." Now, he said some other things, but I do think that a lot of the things he said, there were hidden messages there, basically discussing what went wrong last year. And you know what? When things were bad, where was the leadership from McDaniel and the captains to try to absolutely 180 it? Tyreek Hill doesn't want to go in. There should have been a leader that said, get your ass in the field right now. You know, when Peyton Manning would yell at Jeff Saturday, like that was great stuff. And they're best friends and had a battery of quarterback and center relationship for years. But you know what? When push comes to shove, you got to be a leader. Now, for McDaniel, we all love the personality. That's great. But as, again, we mentioned, I would love for him to give up some roles and get his staff more involved, because he's a fun guy. He's a smart guy. But going into year 4, we need to see his adapting ability to fix what the mistakes were. So that remains to be seen. But I do like the younger crop of players. The overall roster is a lot younger than they were last. They only have like 3 or 4 30-plus-year-olds. So we'll see what new leaders step up and are the coaching voices in between the hash marks and on the field. You need at least 4 or 5 more captains to be named in 2025.
And they've got to be solid captains. But Ingold's comments reflect on what Shari was saying, because when we're putting up the 70 burger and we're doing, you know, all the cool celebrations, and every week it's like, oh my God, what are they going to do? It's so fun. Yeah, it's great. But when the wheels fall off and shit's hitting the fan, that's I don't even say that's culture, that's character. What's the character of the organization, the team as a whole, and how are they going to come together, and what are they going to do to right that ship? And Matt, my fellow Air Force veteran, you know about culture. You know what that's about. You know, when things are going bad, you've got to pull it together, and there's got to be what? There's got to be leadership. And it's not just the leaders of the people on the sidelines with the headphones. It's the ones that are in there rolling up their sleeves, putting the cleats on, and doing the dirty work. So, you know, what's the biggest thing for you? It can be something with McDaniel. It can be a combination of different things for the culture of what this team's got to do.
I love the fact that he brought up the Air Force, because I was going to say something about you and I being in the Air Force. I guarantee you that you do something today that you did when you were in. You have a habit, you have a tick, something that you do. Me personally, cash goes in my left pocket, coins go in my right pocket every single day. There's a couple others, they'll never change. And McDaniel's not going to change. He's been in this sport for most of his life. So where it comes down to the change is bringing in people like a defensive coordinator that has a name and a reputation that will allow his players to listen to what the plan is when the going gets tough. It's not all on McDaniel. He needs to put those people in place because he can't do it all himself. When you and I were in, they looked at us because of what our positions were to do what we were supposed to do. But we weren't doing everybody's job. Everybody has to step up. And if they don't, well, we're looking at 3-13, 3-14. But that's not going to happen because we're not going to have another streak of injuries like we did last year. Is it too soon to give my prediction? Yes. Okay.
Too
I'll
soon.
wait.
Too soon. Hold on. I have a feeling of what it's going to be, but I definitely think it's too soon. And yes, Matt, two things that I can just off the top of my head. One, I always hang my shirts on hangers when they're on hangers, facing to the left. Always has to be that way. And when I have a backpack, I take it into my office, always over my left shoulder, keep my right arm free. I don't salute anybody anymore, but that's why I do it. So those types of things stick with you. You're 100% right. But that's also speaking to you play. This is totally culture. This is totally character. You are going to play how you practice. And if this team can't seem to practice well enough and stick around, and we heard it last year, I know, Jason, you said it's day one, but good God, it's not going to stop because it's just 24/7, but it hasn't been addressed, and that's why. A year ago, it's Jordan Poyer standing up talking about the softness of the team. That was the perception that the opponents had. We had people talk about, oh, you punch them in the mouth and they won't get back up, but we have those types of things. And then last year it was joint practices. One team's doing wind sprints and the other one's yucking it up, talking about, hey, we're going to go, what are we going to do to hang out tonight or something? It's those types of things that make a big difference, but you want to put it well between the hashes when the game starts and through 60 minutes, you've got to do it in practice. And it's a combination of a lot of stuff. Sammy, what do you think, man?
Well, Mark Huffman and Shari Hallett had very interesting, like you said, very interesting thoughts. I want to share what they had to say, and we're going to comment on that. So let's see what Mark Huffman and Shari Hallett had to say today.
That brings me to number 5 from Joe Shad in the Palm Beach Post. 5 reasons to be optimistic about the Dolphins. Number 5 is Mike McDaniel is still smart and creative, and he's pledging adjustments. He says the Dolphins don't have a playoff win in 3 seasons under Mike McDaniel, but McDaniel's 8-9 last year setback was mostly a result of Tua's injuries and a bad chemistry mix on the roster. McDaniel has always been and will always be transparent. He knows the Dolphins need to run the ball more and run it better. McDaniel knows he needs players to be more locked in from the first training camp practice and has pledged to hold the team accountable. McDaniel didn't become dumb overnight. McDaniel is still a bright, sharp offensive mind, and a high percentage of players appreciate that he treats them with respect and is determined to find the best ways to help them and the team succeed. McDaniel deserves this chance to right the ship. With at least one playoff win in the 2025 season, he will have put things back on course.
Stop treating the players with respect and get respect. Players tear their knee up and you cannot help the team anymore. It's how the NFL goes. I don't know if people want to hear how callous it is. If Tua breaks his neck, no one cares about Tua tomorrow. So why, this is why I brought up earlier. We were talking, and I brought up Parcells and I brought up Belichick and I brought up, the butt wipe coaches that are successful. Who cares? Your quarterback won, your linebacker won, your DB won. It sounds good to be a player's coach and all this cute stuff. I think it's backfired on McDaniels. The hell with showing players respect and eating Christmas dinner with them. Demand greatness out of them and win games. That's all people care about. Cam Cameron was very nice. Did y'all like Cam Cameron? He was the ultimate player coach. He was great. Did y'all like Cam Cameron?
Oh, he's top 4 Dolphin coaches, in my opinion.
Lie. He was a nice person. Joe Philbin, a very pleasant human. Nick Saban, butt wipe. Wanstead, I know he didn't do great stuff, but he was a butt wipe. I met Wanstead. My dad knows Wanstead.
Coach of the year one year, I think.
He was a butt wipe. You've heard Joe and all these dudes tell stories about Shula and Jimmy Johnson. We hear OG talk about Jimmy Johnson cussing people out. You don't need to be friends with these employees. And it sounds callous. That's the way it is. Dan Campbell is nice, or he's energetic. He's not bringing them dudes to his house to eat chicken wings on Friday night. Go do your damn job and get results. That's what it is, a result-driven league.
Well, Well, butt wipe aside,
Wow.
Shari Hallett has some great points. That's some of the things I've been saying. It's nothing against Mike McDaniel, the guy, the person. I think he's a is he hires must mean well. That to care about his players, there's nothing wrong on that. But our patrons say on this show is Don Shula. Don Shula, they at the end of his career when he was all on gray, players loved him, but we said so many times they used to hate him as a coach. So many stories about Don Shula telling a guy who jumped a fence because he was late to a practice to go. He caught him in the spot and he made him jump through the fence. He came in to sneak in. So you can be tough, but you can always respect. Of course, you can be tough and be Brian Flores and know what the hell you're doing and know how to control a coaching staff. So don't bring Brian Flores to conversation because that's not here or there. So Steve, I've said it so many times. For me, the players basically betray Mike McDaniel because Mike McDaniel puts too much trust in them, but it's going to be hard for him. Like I said to many times before, that the substitute teacher. No, but for me, I don't see a scenario where Mike McDaniel now can be a tough guy and players are just going to respect it. But I want to know your thoughts.
No, Brian Flores, you're 100% right. He taught us that you can be an asshole, but you can be a bad head coach. Head coaches in the NFL don't have to do everything on the sidelines. And Nick Sirianni proved it, that giving up certain responsibilities and understanding that somebody else may be able to do it better while I do my personnel management, whatever I got to do, yes. It works. It also doesn't hurt that they have Howie Roseman and not Chris Greer. But anyway, off topic.
Chris Greer.
So, but yeah, Brian Flores, total polar opposites. The pendulum swung so hard from somebody who really made our quarterback want to quit the game and cry to somebody who showed up with a 700-minute or 7-hour whatever video of like, this is how wonderful you are to, and let me show you what we can do, and let's hug it out and let's do it over dinner at my house. You can find a happy medium between the two of them, but Channing Crowder was just so dead on, delivers it like nobody else can, like Channing always does. It's 100% right. You can't be, and maybe Mike McDaniel isn't worried about hurting players' feelings. I think he is a little bit too worried about whether or not they like him.
Absolutely. Jason, it's going to be hard for a guy like Mike McDaniel, who's been so buddy friendly, to take control of this team. We talked so many times on the Fifth Facebook podcast. I've been able to share it with you guys, and it's not the best scenario, but, there's guys in those coaching staff that are tough guys, So what are your thoughts? What do you think Dolphins can do, to basically change and what they've done in the last couple of years in that respect?
It's going back to what Ingold said. It's an individual thing that turns into a collective thing. And I'm kind of paraphrasing there. It's like individuals have to have accountability for how they handle their business. And that will then translate to a whole team aura. As for McDaniel, again, like, we're talking about coaches and personalities, and what Channing Crowder says is absolutely true. I absolutely love how he puts his words together. But if you're looking at like a coaching style that was in the Dolphins' history, that was unique, that was a guy just being himself and players respected him. If you're looking across the board, it was Tony Sparano, God rest his soul. And that's not Mike McDaniel at all. Like, that is the antithesis of the personality. But what McDaniel has to do is simply delegate, do his job as a head coach, which is basically a CEO of the team. He's got to pick the right CFO, chief people officer. And yes, I'm playing off a certain Coldplay situation with all these terminologies. But the fact of the matter is, McDaniel has to create that tree, that organizational chart, and it has to work. If someone's got to be a new play caller, let them use McDaniel's genius design to timely call plays in the right situation. Challenge flag situation hasn't worked. Find the right guy. If he's been picking a guy, it's been the wrong guy. So pick the right guy. And you know what? A guy like an Anthony Weaver, give him more responsibility. Make him more vocal in meetings. John Embry, assistant head coach, make him more vocal. You know what? I have no problem with a coach delegating extra responsibility if 2020. But what we saw in 2023 on Hard Knocks should have been after a championship. That's how a team should have acted after a championship. I would have no problem, a basketball hoop, a ping pong table, shit.
A slide.
Go swimming like George Wilson used to do in the 60s. Have everyone go swimming 3 times a day. And then Don Shula comes in, says, no wonder you were 15 and 39 or whatever it was. Forget the swimming. We're doing 3 a days. Not this time. Not going to do 3 a days. But there's got to be that mix of unique personality that Mike McDaniel has, which is fine. But when you give the right people the right responsibilities and it's translating into a way over 500 record by week 12, then things could be, all right, well, we're working. Things are working. We could take a little exhale and we can have a little bit of fun today, not this month. You know what I mean? So they needed to earn a little bit more of that fun and freedom, in my opinion. And again, hindsight 2020 can't fix that. But this season, I would hope things are a little bit more tougher and earned than fun and frolicky, for lack of a better term.
And I
Shari,
know
what are
we're
your
finishing
thoughts?
up on training camp right now, and we're going to be talking about Tua in a moment. But I've heard a couple of times some people on the panel say it's just day one. They reported today it's just day one. But for the franchise and for the fans and for us, I looked it up. It's day 8,976 because that's how many days it's been since we won a playoff game. So it's been a lot of days. And I know this is day one of the 2025 season. But good God, this team has to find a way to put something together that's going to stick for more than a season. We've earned it. 50 years plus, I've been a fan. We have earned putting together a staff, a coaching staff, a head office, a team, I don't want to say culture, a character built team that's going to sustain something for more than a year. So is Tua going to be the answer to that? What do you think, Sammy? Should we segue into Tua?
Well, I want to go, before I do that, let's talk a bit of rating. Anyone want to know your thoughts about before you go to a segment?
Yo, I just want to say this. This is what happens when you hire unexperienced head coaches. You get this problem. They're learning on the fly. They don't know how to do things the right way in the NFL. You know, you could watch from a different position all you want, but until you get in that position, you're not going to know what to do. It's obvious. Mike McDaniel's been learning on the fly since he's been here, and the results have shown. So
Let's go to the chat very, very, very quickly. A lot of people in the chat that has been commenting. I don't want to leave anybody behind. So let me see. Cosa Nostra source is here. You know,
Hi, Kosa.
He's always here.
see, of course. Imaris is here. 19th, Fins up. Fins Faithful Podcast. Hey, shout out to George. He's gonna be probably with us with season
Shout
premiere.
out.
So shout out to
Hi,
him.
George.
That's my dude.
Bobby Finstock. I will talk about the latest plans we have with Bobby and Fins TV. So later at the big finish. So let's do it. Let's go straight to next. We're gonna talk about Tua. You know, Tua. It's been a lot of pressure, but you know, at least I have not given up on Tua. I know a lot of fans have given up on Tua, but you know, it is what it is. But it probably is Tua or bust this season for the Dolphins. Well, I know a lot of fans have given up on Tua, because the inconsistency, the huge contract, the injuries, the concussions. But you can even say whatever you want about Tua, but the guy is not a quitter. The guy is a warrior. The guy has even said that he will die on the field if necessary. That's not necessarily smart, but that's certainly kind of courageous, if you ask me. So I want to start with you, Steve. It's hard because a lot of people I feel are losing faith on Tua. This is a critical year for the Dolphins. It's a critical year for Tua. So basically, is this it? Is it Tua our boss for the Dolphins, Steve?
Well, it's critical because it's do or die time. It's the end of that rebuild. It's whether or not Greer, McDaniel, Tua, the entire experiment was a failure or not. And I don't think anybody in their right mind can say whether or not Tua is a phenomenal quarterback. There is absolutely no doubt. His stats, as Warren Sharp had thrown up last month, speak for themselves that he is a phenomenal quarterback when healthy. 20% of his career, he has been able to reach 17 games. 80% of his seasons, he has not been able to hit 17 games. The best ability is availability, and he has proven that. Okay, I'm torn because was I happy for him getting a contract? Yes, but was I excited? I was excited for the potential of what 17 game Tua could do for this team the next year and the next year and the next year. But I don't. The fact that we have no idea what hit it's going to take for him to all of a sudden go out again, and then we're stuck with Zach Wilson or Quinn Ewers as our quarterback. We just don't know what's going to happen. So I love the guy. I love the guy for what he brings to our team, but it is a liability that if he scrambles, I don't know, maybe put a shot collar on him or something like that. And when he decides to step out of the pocket, somebody just slaps it and tases him and he just drops to the turf. I don't know, but it's a liability and it's a legitimate debate among everybody else that's out there. And, Shari, Tua, I know you have some opinions on this, so go ahead.
Tua is fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 2, 3, 4, 5 times. I'm clearly a Dolphins fan. I love him. But I hate him. And there is nothing inside me that says he's going to stay healthy for, let alone one 17 game season. There's no way he's going to stay healthy for more than one. How is that an answer for the future? Because every play we hold our collective breath. And I get that every player in the league is one hit away from a season or career-ending injury. I understand that. I am rational enough to get that they take that risk every time they take the field. Watching the video that Sammy, you put together, because it was amazing, also made me straight up almost cry, because I have seen him on the ground in a desperate position or a scary position a way too many amount of time. And I think there's nobody on this panel that doesn't know it's going to happen again. And we don't want it to, but it is going to. And I don't think it's admirable to say I'll die on the field. It's a game. We may love to talk about it and we may live our lives and base them around it. If you look around my house, my home wouldn't exist without the Dolphins. But you have to live to fight another day. You have a family. You have a future. I don't want to see him die on the field. And so I don't think he is the long-term answer for us. And it does hurt me to say that, because takes nothing away from who he is or what he's done or what he's capable of. A healthy Tua wins us Super Bowls, I think, over and over. I just don't think we're going to see a healthy Tua for his tenure with our team. That doesn't mean he won't go somewhere else and find a magical power to stay healthy for 10 years and bring them 8 Super Bowls, but I just don't see it.
Jason, what are your thoughts?
Yeah.
I have a lot of thoughts on the Tua topic. And I feel, before getting into my initial thoughts, he's extremely polarizing, as everybody knows. There's 2 groups of people in this Dolphin community. There's Tua stans and Tua haters. I want to change those words. I want to turn it into Tua supporters and Tua critics, because both people could exist in the same time. Because if we're going to rank Tua I don't like saying top 5, top 8, top 10. He's in the upper half of quarterbacks in the NFL. But here's something that is extremely true. At this moment, with Mike McDaniel, the team that is constructed around Tua, it is his team. The team will only go as high as he can stay on the field. Gary, I 1000% agree. I would rather Tua slide 5 yards before a first down and not pick it up, punt. Anthony Lee, the center of the defense, get the goddamn ball back.
Yes.
He's okay. Live to fight another down, series, week, month, season. Fully agree. But the polarization has to stop. Does Tua suck? No, it does not suck. Is Tua the greatest quarterback since Dan Marino? Not on his best day, best world scenario, even close. There's a happy medium, much like life, much like politics. Extreme left, extreme right, no bueno either way. A little bit more in the middle, now you're talking my language. So if Tua plays 15 games, and I didn't say 17, I said 15 games, that's 10-5 mathematically. Now, from an organizational standpoint, we all know his availability was a risk. So why did it take up till year 4 to put more of a heavy investment in, yes, a project backup quarterback? But you're not talking about a practice squad perennial player, all due respect to Snoop. You're not talking about a 7th-round selection, all due respect to Skyler. Not talking about Quinn Ewers. But you have a backup who, if he has to play 2 games or 3 games, you're not dipping below 500 potentially. Because Tua missed 6 games last year. They only won 2 of them. You missed the playoffs by a game. Come on. So, Tua is the quarterback for this team, but they need to mask those deficiencies in other areas, which I hope that they are starting to do with the new and improved offensive line, which I truly do believe that 1 through 5, it is improved. You got to still work on the depth. And if there could be a power running component to this team, which could open up play action passing, which could bring a little bit of balance to this mindset of an offense, it could help Tua, which could help the team, which could make us all not have to worry about getting to 9,000 days, Shari. Fantastic math on that, but it's got to end. This team needs to win a playoff game or 2 for us to be talking about both Mike McDaniel and Tua together 1 year from today. I'm adamant about that.
Agreed.
Because Mike McDaniel was brought in to be the whisperer for Tua. Now, if it's not working and everything truly has to be blown up, we'll cross that bridge if we get to it. But again, 15 games, I'm going 10 wins for the Dolphins if Tua plays those amount of games. I'm not going to say he's guaranteed for 17. I'm not putting my mortgage on that any year.
Then that means, Jason, that his injury, the reason why he sat out, wasn't a concussion. Because you and everybody, hold on, no, because everybody here knows that he gets a concussion, it's not going to be missing 2 games.
Yeah.
So before we go to Adrian, I want to go to Matt because he's like the soothsayer of the group here, the wise, the wisdom.
The optimist.
Matt, I want the wise one. What's it going to take? Okay, what do you think it takes for Tua? Because everybody loves the same old Tua debate. What type of 2025 season does it take for Tua to put that to bed? To put something, put the critics on mute.
I'm going to answer your question in a minute. Jason had a great soliloquy there with the right and the left. The only problem I had with Jason's speech is if Tua slides 5 yards short, this fan base will implode. They will call him the worst in the history of football.
But what happens if the next series he throws a 60-yard bomb to Tyreek?
I'm with you. I'm having some fun. You said that half of them say they suck. If he comes up 5 yards short, oh my God. So I love analogies, and I'm going to use one right now. I love the Land Rover, Range Rover Velar I think it is the most beautiful SUV on the road right now. You could not get me to buy one under any circumstances. And that kills me because I love it. I think it's such a beautiful, black it out, tint, wheels, interior, everything. It's the baddest ride on the street. It is as reliable as Tua Tagovailoa, period. Now, to answer your question, what does he need to do? He needs to have a season like he had in 2023. There's no doubt, nobody on this panel and nobody with a working brain would dispute that 2023 Tua was a bad man. Yep, I hear crickets. Nobody's going
Until
to
the
argue
end.
with that. So,
Until
what
the
does he
end.
need to do? He needs to be
No, it's the
as
truth.
efficient as he was in 2023. Does that mean he has a badass running game behind him? So be it. I'm all for it.
Sure. Just
Let's
win, baby.
go. That's all I care about. And if he hands it off 2.5 times a possession or a set of downs, I'm fine with that. All I want him to do is distribute the ball, slide 5 yards before the down marker, and stay in the frigging game. If I
Yes.
had a Velar in my driveway, I'd be sitting there going, man, I wish I could take this over to Clearwater and see Steve and Sherry. And it would sit right there in my driveway because I don't trust it. I wouldn't trust it. That's why I drive a Lexus, the official car of the Miami Dolphins.
Man, Ed Armstrong with the flex and the mic drop. So, Adrian,
I've seen it. I've seen his Lexus. It's pretty nice.
So, Adrian, what's the biggest concern when it comes to Tua? Let's say we're looking at next season, 2025's here. What's a worse situation for his outcome from the season? His injury susceptibility or his inconsistency in big games and harsh environments?
It's got to be the injury, but I would say his inconsistency in the big games, man, because we all seen it. Even in 2023, when Matt said he was a bad man, we all saw the last 5 games of that season, how that went. And granted, the run game wasn't what it was for the first, 12 games of the season, 11 games of that season. So, you talking to me?
No, you're good. I hear you.
Nope, you're good.
I can hear it, Adrian.
I heard somebody say
I thought
he
you were
having
asking
technical
Adrian.
difficulties.
Adrian was doing his best De Niro taxi driver. That's where we were going there.
You talking to me?
Just for the movie bucks out there.
But yeah, man. So it's definitely the injury because
Was that
it's gonna
question
happen.
at me, Steve?
No, man, you're good. You're good.
Oh, I don't. I'm
No,
having
He
a
wants to
meeting.
answer the question.
No.
I'm lost, man. I'm lost.
I
But
thought you asked Adrian
Somewhere
a
in the
question, and Adrian's
background.
not even on the board.
To Matt, I think you're just not seeing it. Somebody, and I think that you asked, are we having technical difficulties? Adrian's on live. We're
yeah,
good.
that's what I.
Oh,
So,
okay. Then I'm having technical difficulty. Sorry, guys.
There you
all
go.
good.
It's
All
my
good.
first day.
nice.
So, Adrian, so your answer to that is it's the inconsistencies, correct?
Yeah, because the injury is going to be inevitable.
Well, okay,
I
but
feel
let's say
like.
he stays. Let's say he manages to have another 2023, but he throws up some games like he did in 2023 in Frankfurt,
As long
Germany. Other ones where he just can't get her done.
as long as
And
it's not at the end of the season, I'm fine with that.
Can I ask a question? May I
Shoot,
ask a
please.
question,
Please.
please?
go.
Every quarterback's going to have bad games, but if he's having them in crunch time games where we're trying to get to the playoffs or we're trying to get a certain seed or whatever that may be, just playoffs in general, then and he's throwing up those those games where like nothing burgers, man, I'm done with him after that.
Okay.
The injury itself, like the injuries themselves, you could pretty much chalk this up to like almost another. It's getting to like Ryan Tannehill territory. Not comparing those two in the sense of the talent, not the talent, obviously, but I'm talking about waiting 6 years too long to find out if you have your quarterback.
And
Sherry,
that
what's
kind
the
of
question?
my question is, doesn't this kind of answer itself? If it isn't, if he stays healthy, can we win? But it's if he stays healthy and he's consistent and he can win in cold weather and
Yeah.
he can win in the big game. There's a lot of and
Yeah.
it's not one thing we're discussing, and that is going to be an issue moving forward.
The good thing about that, Sherry, is we'll know in 3 or 4 types of games. Divisional opponent on the road in the bad weather, and I'm looking at the Jets late in the season. I'm looking at closing the season in New England. You're going on Monday night against Pittsburgh. And then there's another chunk of the season in the middle where you're going through a gauntlet, an absolute gauntlet of 3 teams.
Yeah.
Baltimore, Buffalo, Washington. And Washington is across the pond. So everyone's going to think about Kansas City in the Germany game. But there's 2 massive chunks of this schedule that if Tua is on the field and he leads this team or helps get a W, then people could be like, whoa, now we got something here. But if it's the same old, fool me once. Shari, you said it best.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think we're going to know way before the road game and the Jets. I mean, we have to know. We're going to the whole if it just comes down to that, then we've found some formula that works if that's the first time we falter. So I just want to see and I want to see, somebody said here, the Wayne D experience, that it's the Dolphins that can't win in cold weather, not just Tua. And that is absolutely true. However, if we have a leader that can help us break the streak, is Tua going to be that leader? And if it comes down to, he has shown us all season, he has stayed healthy, he has been laser focused, he's had a repeat of that year. Go ahead.
But if he has a 1-4 record against these big teams that we're talking about, these teams that we think are like upper echelon teams, if he has a 1-4 record, but
Correct.
everybody else he's beaten, what do we think about that?
That's why if we can
Status
get through
quo.
the bowl, you said there's those strong teams at the beginning, Baltimore, Buffalo. Those, I mean, I hate to say it because it's deja vu with Buffalo on a Thursday night in week 3, right? But getting through the beginning of this season, which is a very, very difficult start to a season for any team, let alone a team struggling like we are to pull it all together, we're going to know a lot after week 3. I think, personally, we're going to know a lot after week 3.
Before we go to the Tasso segment, I'm going to ask a question. Raise your hand and be honest if you can. If you want to, don't answer the question, you don't have to. But raise your hand if you feel like you're out on Tua, you lost faith on Tua. Raise your hand. Anyone? Oh, good. We'll get it than we thought, though. Let's go to our next segment. Let's go to the Tasso segment. It's the Toss-Up segment. It's going to be really, really quickly. The training camp started today, and of course, there's one interesting battle. The battle for the number 2 running back. Jalen Wright has some interesting things to say to Kate Adams, so I want to share what he has to say, and then we're going to talk about who you believe will take the upper hand, who's going to be number 2 running back. Let's see what he had to say.
What does a breakout look like for Jalen Wright?
I just really feel like, and I know I can be a top back in this league. I feel like just my skill set, my ability, and then the system I'm in, it just sets me up to be great. It's just God's plan. Just stay the course. It's a long season. Stay in the course. doing what I got to do every time I touch that rock. Every time the ball comes to me, just make a play with the ball. So I'm very excited. I'm very blessed to be in this position. It's going to be a very great year this year. Pass game, I'm going to be way more involved this year. Way more involved, just in everything. Running game, pass game, pass protection, everything. So it's gonna be really good.
Has Tyreek Hill ever taught you or given you a tip on catching the ball?
Not really. Catching the ball, just looking the ball in. It's as simple as it sounds, but it's hard to do. Like when you're tired and things just going so fast. But that's when you lock in. And, that's what the off season is for. Working all those things.
Well, there's one position the Dolphins pretty should feel good about. Basically, it's the running back room. With A-Chain, with Oregon the third, and with Jalen Wright. Jalen Wright, the Dolphins traded some capital to go there and get him. So he feels confident that he can make a difference. But I'm going to start with you, Steve. You had to get, a preseason guess because the preseason haven't started. What do you think is going to end up winning that battle? The rookie, with the big body, the big, goal line pro back, or, Jalen Wright, who couldn't not see the field last year after the Dolphins traded so much capital to get him.
One, I don't blame 2024 on Jalen Wright. I'm a huge Jalen Wright fan, and I feel like he got failed in his rookie campaign to show what he was capable of. That's not on him. It's on the offensive line. It's on the coach. It's on Chris Greer. They set him up for failure. Looking forward to this camp, and I know we got to make this a fast segment here, faster than what we've been having. The take is that Ollie Gordon III is all power, Jalen Wright is speed, and that's the perception that one is the other. I contend that Ollie Gordon had how many receptions last year? 39. 39 receptions. Sorry, in 2023, he had 39 receptions. How close to being a Raheem Mostert replacement is he than thinking he needs to be the goal line power back? I think he can bring a lot to it. I think that they can complement one another. But my thought is give Achane a lot more out of the backfield, give him more of those receiving reps, and make Jalen Wright your feature back because my man is a beast.
Adrian. I want to go with you because I know you had to leave us around 9:20, 9:15. So what are your thoughts?
I completely agree with Steve. Give Jalen the ball, man. I think he's, after that first year, he's ready. And everybody's talking about his speed. The dude's like 220, 230 pounds. So you give him the rock, man. You give him it the majority of the carries. And then you have Achane, who's like your specialty back. And then you got Gordon, who's the power guy. So I'm all for it.
I don't love hearing Jalen Wright say, if you're tired, you're not going to catch they're all tired. You still have to catch the ball. I didn't love that, but he is definitely at the top for me behind Achane. I was expecting so much. Steve, I told Steve, I'm so excited. I can't wait to see this. We have a friend whose last name is Wright, and I'm like, he's going to be a star, and we're going to get our friend a jersey that says Wright on the back, and it's going to be. I agree with you, Steve. They set him up for failure. This year is going to be a big tell. I only wish we didn't rely on running backs catching the ball, and we're going to have to rely on that a lot more now that Johnny Smith isn't there, which really stresses me out. I wish there wasn't that much pressure on our backs to have to carry that weight. I think we had the perfect person for that job. That's for another day as well. But I like Jalen Wright. I like what he brings to the table. I want to see him do this year what we expected him to do last year, and it's going to really help Tua immensely. I think so.
Well, Shari, we'll still have Julian Hill. Come on. Jason, what are your thoughts?
This isn't necessarily a running back. It's not necessarily a running back by committee, it's a running back by responsibility. Achane with Tua averaged 7 receptions a game. He was on 6 or 7 a game. He was on pace for 100. He fell off at 78, which still led the NFL from running backs. So, do I want 200-plus carries from Achane? Not necessarily. I want 250 touches from Achane. Yep. Now, if you look back to 2023, Achane missed a lot of action, sure, but Raheem Mostert had 200-somewhat carries. If you make that job responsibility more Jalen Wright, run in between the gaps, run, get those power inside runs 14 times a game. That's not saying that Achan's not going to run 12 times, catch 5-6 balls. So we're hovering right around 19, 20 touches. Third and short, you know what? You bring in Alexander Madison. He better beat out a rookie. Ollie Gordon, he could be in there on 3rd and 7 because he could pass block. He also caught 80 balls out of Oklahoma State. So he can be a receiver out of the backfield on 3rd and long. Do I want Jalen Wright to be that guy, to be a pass catcher out of the backfield? He had a very judicious answer right there. He only got targeted 6 times. He ain't catching the ball. That's not his job. I want heavy inside grind yards. Look, if it's the 4th quarter, you're up by 4, you're on the road week 1 against the Colts. Achan already has 19 touches, a touchdown, 150 overall yards. I want this to be the Jalen Wright show. 4 carries, 40 yards, 2 first downs, done. Moving.
And we're going to rely a lot on our offensive line for that, because he has to read the block and find the open. They have to bring him those openings. I mean, that is just a fact.
Yes, no, 100%. I'm glad you said that, because the differentiation from this year to last year, we did have Hall of Famer on the left side, but yet Hall of Fame, Swiss cheese hole, Brewer, Swiss cheese hole, Austin Jackson. Now you have the ability to have up-and-coming rookie, okay, but 2 through 5, solid.
Yeah.
Solid. So on 3rd and short, and I've said this until I'm aqua blue teal in the face, run up the middle. Straight.
What, and you don't want to toss sweep?
No.
How about shotgun 5 yards and punt? Come on, lose 5 yards and punt.
Listen, I am not the greatest math student in the world, or geometry or whatever, but the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight goddamn line. And if you need 3 feet, which is 1 yard, do not start your ball carrier 4 yards back.
I thought that was like an Adam Gase problem, but it's a Miami problem.
Listen, that's a toughness problem. Listen, that is a toughness problem. And if Daniel can identify, all right, we got Jonas Savaianaya, we got James Daniel, and we got Aaron Brewer. If we can run up the A gap to pick up a 3rd and 1 and extend the drive, then we can get back to business on having some fun on the outside with speed. Timely play calls with the right personnel. You could argue they improved that personnel from an inside power, short yardage standpoint. I don't want to see Achan get that job, because he got 3 guys who could handle that job. Trust me, I want Achan to be the next version of Alvin Kamara, which he's on the way to do. But you need that complimentary guy who can put that head down, get those 4 or 5 yards consistently.
I contend that Jalen Wright has the ability to do an Alvin Kamara more than Achan. But
wow.
Sammy,
bold.
I got something we've got to do here on the show. For every time that somebody successfully says our 2nd round pick's name, we need to put a tally up, and we're going to send them some really cool little plush toy gift or something. I'm not even going to try to say his last name, but that's
Jonah gave the tip. The first portion of his name rhymes with Hawaii. Savai. So Savai is the start, and then the rest is all you.
Okay, well, you only get a tick mark if you say it once, and if you're trying to do it phonetically for us, you don't get a tick mark. But Jason, you've got one. First one of the year.
I want to go pretty quickly to the preseason segment, just because Adrian has to go. But Jason was talking so much about the offensive line having holes on like Swiss cheese. It's more like French cheese, like a trou de crème. Those cheeses that stink. But let's go to the preseason segment. The preseason is now reduced to 3 games. It used to be 4. It used to be 5 sometimes. Now 4. It's 3. Probably in a couple of years, it's gonna be just 2 games if the schedule is expanded. But I want to go first to Adrian so we can say goodbye to him. But Adrian, if you can have one expectation for the Dolphins this preseason, what would it be?
Play the young guys. Play the young guys. Just play them, man. They need it. We need it to see what we got from them. Play them all, man. That's it. We already know what they expect from Tyreek Hill. We already know what to expect from Tua. Jalen Waddle, all them boys. If you want to get them some reps in, maybe a series or two, I'm fine with that. Get them, some game time, but play the young guys. We got a lot of young guys. We need to see what they have right now and in game situations. So that's my take on it. Play the young guys, all of them.
100%.
How about you, Jason?
Expectations to play off of what Adrian said. I love the fact play the young guys. If you invest in a draft pick, 5th rounder, you know what? Throw Dante Trader in there at safety a little bit. Mix him up in special teams. This guy started in every special teams role you could think of in Maryland, and he's the kind of guy that can make his bones on special teams and then be in that 3rd, 4th safety range on the depth chart. Cornerback, look, you make an investment in Jason Marshall Jr. Let's see if he could fill in one of those 2 roles. Is Cam Smith gonna just appear? I'm not putting my money on that. I'm taking my chips.
Just walking onto the field.
I'm taking the chips off the felt for a guy like Cam Smith. I'm taking it off for guys like Shannon Tindall, Cam Good. I'm done. Fool me once again. If you have 2 or 3 seasons where you can't get on the field, it's goodbye. We have guys who can maybe take that role over. Do we know if they can or not? That's what competition's for. That's what the summer is for. So I'm saying absolutely double down on what Adrian just said.
Do you feel that way about Jalen Phillips and?
No, okay. With that,
whoa!
We know what Jalen Phillips is. Yeah. We also know what has happened to Jalen Phillips. So if anyone needs a hang back, JP, we'll tell you when we need you. That's what I'm talking about with him, Bradley Chubb. You know what? Hey, you make an investment in a Mo Kamara. Let's see if he can get some snaps in there. You bring in undrafted free agent, guy on the up last year who got hurt, Grayson Murphy. Let's see if he could provide. Your roster went down an average of 3.5 years as a whole. That's a lot. That is a huge difference. You're not a 28.5 oldest team in the league. You're a 25.3 bottom 7 youthful team in the league, or top 7 youthful, whatever you want to say. So, Adrian, play the young people.
Oh, for sure.
Let them earn it, or have someone who's an undrafted or a scrap heap, a practice squad player say, you know what, he didn't do it. Get out, my time.
That's it. Who wants to eat?
I'm sorry, go ahead, Aaron.
No, I was just saying, who wants to eat?
Exactly right.
Get out there and eat.
There's food on the table, but dog eat dog world. The biggest dog is going to get the biggest pile.
Let the record show that they put the timestamp at 1 hour 50 minutes. The first Bradley Chubb mentioned during the show. It had to be done. So, Adrian, I want to thank you. I know you gotta go. You have pre engagement, but hopefully we'll see you during the season. I'm pretty sure we'll see you during the season opening game. So I want to thank you, my friend, and best of luck on your new endeavor on the.
Absolutely.
To Raw for SmackDown Saturdays on YouTube.
Appreciate it, man.
So good to
Thanks,
see you,
man. I appreciate all y'all. Good to see y'all, and we'll talk soon, man.
Hi to the family.
Fins up.
So next we're gonna go to the big finish. Well, over 560 on all platforms watching tonight at Fins TV, so we are pretty appreciative. Please like and subscribe. There's all the media stamps, the social media at Fins TV _ Onyx. I have an announcement to make. Fins TV is gonna expand the branding. The Fins TV brand is gonna be expanding during the season. We're gonna be joining the pregame show with Bobby Finstock and Finstanza on the Finstock Sports Network this season, and Fins TV also is going to be expanding because we're going to do something different. We're going to do Fins TV Plus on FSN So I'm very glad. I want to say thanks to Bobby Finstock for the opportunity to expand the brand and what you do in that show with our friend part of the Fantasy TV crew at the chapel on Thursdays. Basically, it's going to be a 30-minute show on FTSN where we're going to discuss the next upcoming game. We're going to do some behind the enemy lines. We're going to try to see if we can invite a fan of the opposing team this week. It should be a lot of fun, and we're going to talk some behind the lines, the enemy lines. So there's a perspective on the Dolphins of what basically we think about the matchup on Sunday. Like I said, please like and subscribe. Again, we're rooting this week. We received some our friend Biggie shared some news regarding his health, some complications into his health. I'm not gonna go into the details. You can go to the social media for that. But our friend's still looking for a kidney donor, so his microsite's still available. So please, if you know someone who can probably take the test to donate a liver for Biggie, nkr.org diagonal BHP 638 to help Biggie. Biggie has done so much for so many Dolphins fans. I call him every single time. He's the Dolphins ambassador. He's done so much for so many people. He's always trying to. If there's a ticket who's going to be used, Biggie is going to be finding a way for a Dolphins fan to get it. He's so much doing so much for the community, for the charities, for the fans. So if someone deserves, to give his all to us, to the community, to give his all to share, to spread the word, to help Wiki, he's still looking for a donor for his liver. So please go to his microsite or reach out to him to see how you can help. This is going to be the last game. The last show until August. But Shari, you better get ready because we're going to do very soon that we're going to be recording the FIS TV Spotlight.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
Look at the daily lives of so many important Dolphins fans or super fans that from Lou and Ashley to Shari to Dolphin Freaky and to talk to some Bobby Fins, talks to so many others that do so much in the community, do so much other work. What are they like in the daily lives as a Dolphins fan? How much being a Dolphins fan has impacted their life? So I'm very excited to do that kind of interview to spread the word on so many Dolphins fans who are great Dolphins fans. So we'll be recording this probably at the beginning of August, and you will probably be reviewing on the FIS TV channel all Thursdays until the season arrives. So guys, I want to thank Matt Armstrong, who probably he blew his cover, his secret agent cover. He had to go.
Witness protection.
Yeah, he always, that's why he started the war. Our friend Jason Sarney. Jason, you're doing such a great work with Joe Salvaran, the FIS Faithful podcast. You went to the draft now to doing interviews with players and so much stuff. You had so many plans coming in the next coming weeks. Say my best to George. What other plans you have on Dolphins Newswire? What do you think you're going to be writing in the next couple of weeks, Jason?
I'm right in the middle of an undrafted free agent series. It's one of my favorite aspects of the roster to look at because you never know. Dolphins have had that luck here and there with undrafteds. And listen, this is the greatest time of year because everyone's 0-0 and everyone has the hope. But I'm going to really, I said this with George a couple of shows ago. I'm not dealing in hopium. I'm dealing in realium. I got tanks of realium in my house, and that's how I'm going to be speaking this year. I could see the flaws, I could see the potential, and unfortunately, as all of us Dolphin fans know, we're right in the sweet spot, right in that middle. So let's see how it plays out. But Sammy, Steve, Shari, I adore you all. I adore this show, this platform. It's one of the happiest hours and change of my week talking with you all when we get
absolutely. And we love you.
You as well.
You're doing so great in Dolphins Wire and USA Today, and of course we're our friend Joe Salvaran on the FIS Faithful podcast. It's gonna be a great season for you guys. Shari, we'll see you soon on the FIS TV Spotlight, and I appreciate you as always. You're the heart and soul of this show because you give always such a different perspective. You bring so much to the table. So
thank you.
It's not, sometimes the show flies by. You don't have a chance to be appreciative and say thank you. So thank you, Shari. And my brother Steve Hallett, I miss you. You know how much I love you, my friend.
Always.
Well, hope it's gonna. We better strap in because this might not be the greatest season as a Dolphins team. We have been so lucky to have until the things burned last year, we've been so lucky to have so many good games, so many good seasons. So we're trying to do our best to keep the power of positivity alive. And just as I'm saying that, started raining. So, I don't know what that means. So
It's a sign,
I
brother.
appreciate you, my brother. So, guys, please follow, subscribe. Please go to YouTube. We appreciate all of you to subscribe on YouTube. It's very big for us. We'll be back on August 12th for our preseason. Preseason review and previews. We'll see how the Dolphins are doing by then, and the season starts for Fins TV the
Sounds
Tuesday
great.
before
It'll be here in a
the
snap.
Colts game. Absolutely. So thank you guys, and I appreciate you all. Please like and subscribe as always, no matter what, no matter where you are. If you talk in Miami, you're always to go Super Bowl. Peace up.
Fins up.
Fins up, yo.
Thanks for watching Fins TV. Please like and subscribe. Fins up.